Still tracking that bomb blaster that happened in the Nyanya area of Abuja, a motor park this morning. Opeyemi, Agbaje, Chief Executive Officer of RCC Advisory Services, joins me now via telephone to discuss that blast. Thank you so much, Opeyemi, for taking the time out to join us.
Thank you.
Well, we're yet to get an official confirmation from the presidency on this blast in terms of what the official death toll is from that bomb blast this morning. Just talk us through what your take is on this latest development, and perhaps there's been a lot of talk about what the motivation could be and, of course, who's behind it.
Well, it's a sadly predictable development. I think given the escalation of the violence in the northeast and even incidences of so-called slaughtering of hundreds or large numbers of people in Katsina, in Jigawa, in Zamfara states, it was predictable that terrorism will arrive once again in Abuja, and unfortunately this has happened. Remember, Nyanya is almost on the borders of Abuja and Nasarawa state. Nasarawa state has been in the center of violence in the north central around the so-called Fulani herdsmen and all of that. So it's not surprising. Nyanya is a highly populated settlement, and so regrettably we have bomb blasts again in Abuja.
Now, Opeyemi, what is your take on how much of a grip the federal government has on this situation? Because many have put this called this a brazen attack by whoever it is that's behind it. Of course, the usual suspects, Boko Haram, especially since it's happening in Abuja, although it's on the outskirts, but there is talk that this is a more brazen attack.
Oh, well, it's obvious that we don't yet have a grip on these things. It's obvious. I mean, it's taken us in the last quarter or 3 months or so, Boko Haram has killed thousands of people, and we keep talking only about Boko Haram. But like I said, the Fulani herdsmen, so the so-called Fulani herdsmen, have also killed thousands in the middle of the country. There's an obvious lack of capacity in the security agencies with dealing with this. Some also suspect that perhaps there's some insider abuse of security and of intelligence information that facilitates many of these incidences.
And the federal government has constantly come under criticism over its tactics or strategies, if you will. They have come out many times to say that they cannot, of course, make public what their strategies are. And we know that many analysts have said that it's obviously not working because almost on a daily basis, looking at the newspaper headlines, there's one attack or the other by the Boko Haram sect. In terms of a change of strategy, what areas do you think the federal government could be looking at, particularly as regards partnerships with other international countries who are dealing with the same issue, perhaps the U.S., Britain?
I would support clearly partnerships, not just with the U.S., not just with countries that have experience with terror, like the British you mentioned, Israel, and so other countries. But also, we also need stronger partnerships as the government itself has finally recognized with the neighboring countries, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and Benin, Mali, Burkina Faso. As far as that, there's clearly some international dimensions to the movements we're seeing there. More importantly, we need intelligence. I don't think the federal government's counter-terrorism work has been led by intelligence. I think we've always been reactive. A bombing happens here, then we send soldiers there. Another one happens some other place, we send another group of soldiers there. But where is the intelligence? I think government needs to be a lot more purposeful and decisive and proactive in relation to this terrorism menace.
Okay, now, Opeyemi, on a final note, when we do, if we do get an official statement from the federal authorities, what would you be expecting them to say to Nigerians?
Unfortunately, the words that come from government in relation to these things have become so obviously predictable. I could write the statement on their behalf. Unfortunately, this is not about words. This is now about decisive and purposeful action to recognize the true character of the danger that the country faces and to take appropriate action on them.